Hello again. I'm Henry T. Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live. We haven't been with you for a while because Henry T was under the weather. But man, I'm healthy and not wealthy yet, but wiser. And I'm so happy to be doing this show again. Thrills me because there's so much work to do and great New Mexico stars to interview. And today, man, we got a couple of superstars with us on the Henry T Show. But I had that gout, not in one ankle, but two. They thought that was rare. Now I could hardly walk. Now Henry T is jogging again, almost running again. Man, we're going to be back in shape. And I'm going to challenge our special guest today to a sprint when I'm fully recovered. And you know him well. New Mexico Sports Hall of Famer, Jim Ciccarello, the track and field coach at La Cueva High School, many times New Mexico Coach of the Year, and a few times National Coach of the Year. Man, it's good to have you with us, Chick. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Henry. Thank you for having me on the show with one of our fantastic athletes at Cueva High School.
Hey, you're in the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame. How many years have you been an educator, a coach?
Well, it's hard to believe, but I'm getting ready to go into my 54th year in APS.
Wow.
That's a long time. I'm proud of that.
You've been so successful, Coach. What has been the formula behind all those trophies and all the success?
Well, I think that if you enjoy the kids and you like to see kids improve, that you're going to have success. You got to spend time with the kiddos, and when they do well, acknowledge that they did well, and then share the moment with them because it's a big moment in their lives. And I've done that my whole career, whether it's in practice or at a track meet.
What did it mean to you to be inducted into the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame?
Well, the night that happened, that was probably one of the more exciting moments in my life because I was an athlete in high school and a little bit in college, but not really an outstanding athlete. But I dedicated my life to being an educator. And I didn't realize at the time that the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame was also inducting educators who made a commitment to athletes and try to get them to excel. Because the athletes that I have, like this young lady, Sima, they far exceed anything that I do. But they need somebody to help direct them and get them going in the right way. And that's kind of the role that I filled. So when they inducted me, I felt like, wow, I'm here with some of these guys that are high jump 7'5", yet I can't even high jump 5 feet. But I could teach it.
You've got the formula, you've got the knack, you know how to do it. And I love to see you recognized in the community and praised for all that you and your teams have accomplished. You really deserve all that praise, Coach. Again, congratulations.
Well, thank you for that. All praise is appreciated. We're not in it for the praise. We're in it to see those athletes take it to that level. I always tell them, you can even ask Sima when she's on, if I ever talk about the podium, I talk about these kids trying to do the best they can and get on top of that podium. Because when they get that podium and they look into the stands at the University of New Mexico, their mom, their dad, their grandparents, everybody's there to share it with them. And it's a special moment in their lives.
Well, I'm going to give you the honor right now to introduce your special, extraordinary, world-class athlete. The stage is all yours, Coach.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've ever heard of Serafima. Some people call her Sima. Her last name is Lucero, and she is a La Cueva track and field athlete. And I'm going to tell you a couple things about Sima. When I first met Sima, I was down on the track, and her dad, Ben Lucero, came down to the track and said, Coach Ciccarello? I said, yeah. He said, I want to introduce you to my daughter. And I looked at her and I said, who is this? And he said, this is Sima, and she's interested in high jumping. And I said, really? She's a high jumper? He said, well, she did some stuff in mid school, and I was a high jumper myself. And then he told me how high he went, 7'5", and that he had competed at the Olympic trials. It's kind of interesting because I was at the same Olympic trials with another athlete, and I didn't know Ben then. And he did very well, and he was at the University of Missouri. But anyway, get back to Sima, is that Sima, right away I noticed that she had long legs, and I asked her to sprint a little bit, and then I realized that she had some speed. And so, knowing me, the first thing I said was, Sima, you ever try the hurdles? And she said, no, Coach, I've been a 200-meter runner. I said, well, yeah, that's great. I said, but I think I could help you learn the hurdles, and maybe we can add something new to your repertoire. And I just took her over to the hurdles and started showing her some sprint drills. And the next thing you know, she could handle them easily. She's a fast learner.
Well, let's say hi to Sima. Sima Lucero, I'm Henry T. How are you?
Hello, Henry. I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for that introduction, Coach Chick. That was very kind.
Yeah, great smile. You look so happy. You did so well at this year's state track and field events, and your team came close to another state championship. What was the experience like for you this year?
Thank you. We were all very excited, those of us, the whole team. We were excited to be there. We were excited to compete. I think especially coming off of last year where it was kind of a condensed season and the state meet was sort of it. We were really excited that we got to have a full season and build up to the state meet. And I was excited to run with my teammates and to run for my coaches. And it was just a really good experience.
Overall, what events do you run when you go to a meet presently?
Usually my routine is I run my 100-meter hurdles and then maybe a 4x2 relay. Then I have my 300 hurdles and then maybe an open 200 and then finish with the 4x4.
Wow. So potentially, how many points are there for your team?
I don't keep track of that. I'm not too sure.
Coach, help us with that.
Well, yeah, I can help a little bit. You know, an individual event, if you win an individual event, that's worth 7 points. Now, you're only allowed to be in 4 of them on the track. So if Sima ran 4 on the track, that would be 35 points.
Gee.
Or in a relay, you have to split the points, 2.5. And the way Sima was set up, she potentially was going to get 3 times 7, 21 points. And then if her relay team got first, she'd add another 2.5 to that. So that's what her potential was. At the very beginning, when I first met her, I was thinking she was going to high jump because basically she's a 5'3" high jumper and maybe go higher at the state meet. And she could have potentially been a state champion in the high jump too. But she had a slight injury, which I know you're going to talk to her about after a while. And we had to get out of the high jump so that we didn't aggravate that and make it any worse. But Sima's certainly capable of 5 gold medals at the state meet. I could see that happening maybe next year.
Sima, your dad was a world-class athlete, came this close to representing the United States at the Olympic Games. He waited there as he hopped out of the pit and just watched maybe the wind knock it off. He was heartbroken, but he was that close. How much did Dad help you grow in your maturity, still helping you grow as an athlete?
Well, I think I learned a lot from my dad. He always would say that going into the Olympic trials, he worked as hard as he could so that he knew if he didn't make the Olympics, it wasn't because there was something that he could have done. It's simply he wasn't good enough and he wasn't meant to make the team. So I think the biggest thing that he's given me is my work ethic. I always work my hardest because I know that if I'm not going to do it, somebody else is. So, I mean, he's really helped me with everything, but I think that's my most valuable thing that I've taken from him.
Let's see you in action right now. I don't know what group this is in. There you go. Wow.
You notice the big difference between first and second there? A little bit of space.
Boy, she is fast.
Yeah, I like to make a comment about her speed in the hurdles. And her technique is pretty good, and I think it's going to get better. But I want to mention, like, her work ethic is that Sima's got natural speed that she's blessed with. And with her work ethic, she's willing to work hard. And she's willing to take it to a high level. And she's an extreme gamer. A gamer is a person that when the gun goes off, they're going to give it 100%. Sima doesn't like to give in to anybody. And she's going to go as hard as she can in the meet. Now, because of that little injury she had, she got behind in her training. And I think that once she can correct this little injury, her training is going to increase. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see her times really get phenomenal. They're going to get a lot better than they ever have been because she does have a work ethic. Is that when she was feeling pretty good and we go to practice, I put Sima at the front of a repeat. That's how we get faster in track and field. We have repeats. We do one after another. And I would put Sima at the front and I'd tell the other kiddo, you got to stay with Sima. And she would take off like a jackrabbit. And they try to stay with her. And they had trouble. Now, as she had trouble with the injury, I would always say, Sima, you got to let me know how you feel because I'm not going to have you go hard if you're hurt. And there'd be times in the last year and a half where she'd have to say, you know, coach, I need to back off a little. I said, fine. And then instead of putting her at the front, we put her in the middle or toward the end. And she was hindered. She was hindered by that injury. But I guarantee you this, if that thing gets fixed, and we're working on it this summer, she's got a plan. If she could get that fixed and do the workouts that we have planned for, you're going to see some pretty outstanding times coming next year.
Sima, this little injury that keeps nagging you, is it one thing? Every athlete I've ever known has an injury somewhere or two or three, but whatever it is, it did not hamper your efforts at the state championships. What are we talking about this little nagging injury?
So it seems almost every year, pretty much before my big events or even just during the season when I really want to be training hard, I get some sort of injury. It's happened in my knee before last state meet and I could only run 2 events. And then I had a lower back injury this year before the Great Southwest, and that affected me a lot. And then I had an issue in my quad, and then one year I had mono. So it's always just like a little something that's just holding me back. But like Coach Chick said, I am very competitive. So even when I am injured, I'm still going to go 100% and just tough through it. But it would be a lot better if I wasn't injured so I could go even harder.
You know, athletes like you, student athletes like you, they don't come along just abracadabra. There's a formula, there's a story. And in your case, it's a powerful love story with you, dad, and mom, and your siblings. If you don't mind, if it's not too private, how deep is that love story at home?
Well, I think my family, I'm very fortunate to have grown up in a very loving family. My mom, she came from a third world country so that she could give us an opportunity. Um, my dad, he was a very hard worker, and a similar story. They both came from nothing so that they could give us the best lives that they could. So it's we're very lucky and privileged to have what we have, and because of that, I think me and my sister have more incentive to work harder.
Now you have a younger sister, and coach says if she follows your leadership, she might accomplish more than you. What do you think about that?
I think it's very possible. My little sister Sasha, she's really fast, she's really talented. We're just different. I think we have a different type of athleticism. She's a really good soccer player. That's actually kind of her main sport right now. She just got back from a really big tournament. And I mean, Coach Chick right now is looking at her in the hurdles to see if maybe that's a possible event for her. Right now, she's just kind of a sprinter, and she was only a freshman, and she made it to the state meet in a relay. I think she was like that close to making it in a few sprints. So I think if she keeps working and keeps growing how I think she is, she has definitely the chance to smother my times and do great things.
Wow. You may not be aware of it because he's with you every day, but obviously you love and respect your coach, Jim Ciccarello. In your words and from your heart, what do you think of your head coach? We call him Chick.
Right, Coach Chick. I know Coach actually doesn't like the name Coach Chick, but it's kind of stuck. He's the best coach I've ever had. He really cares about his athletes, unlike some other coaches who maybe just care about titles or just care about getting an athlete from point A to point Z without worrying about all the stuff in the middle. Coach Chick is always very attentive to our injuries, to our needs. He listens to us. He always says, if you feel good, go hard. If you're hurt, back off. And even though that's just a little saying, I think it speaks to who he is because he does care about the athlete and he cares about his team. He treats it as a family. So I respect Coach a lot.
Is he a motivator? Does he inspire you?
He is a motivator. At the beginning of every practice, he has us sit down, and even if it's not directly about the meet or it's not directly about track, he always has something inspirational and motivational to say. And I think it pulls us together as a team and makes us work for each other and for our coaches.
Wow. When you hear those words from your ultimate athlete, Coach Chick, how do you feel? When you heard those words right now, what happened to you?
Well, it means I'm on the right path. We don't talk about that every day. Our relationship and how I affect them. But the fact that she's right, I do talk every day before practice. I do try and motivate them. And if they're good listeners, the deal is, there's an old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The deal is with athletes is that you can try and motivate athletes, but unless they're willing to buy into your program, they're not going to get to that high level that we're all trying to get them to. And I realized that a long time ago when I first started coaching, that if you talk to the athletes and you gain their respect and they buy into your program, and that is by showing them respect. You don't only want respect from them, but you want to show respect. And I have a kid come up to me and say, Coach, I don't feel good today. And I know you like to run me at the beginning, but how about if I get in the middle or toward the end? I say, that's fine. Or even more, Coach, can I drop out of this interval and maybe catch the next one? Sure. Some coaches make you run. I'm not going to give you names, but some coaches make you run down the highway. My way is the highway. But I never believed in that. I always believed that if you're healthy, you go hard. If you're sick or hurt, back off. And then you're going to feel good again, and then you go hard. And I find out that I treat them all the same way like that. Not just the super. I won't just treat Sima like that, but I'll treat the kid that runs 32 seconds in the 200 the same way. And if you treat everybody like that, you get everybody's respect, and that's how you get a team concept. So yeah, I'm glad that Sima mentioned a couple of things that really haven't talked about, But you're right, Seema. Those are things that I've given a lot of thought. And to me, that's important as a coach.
Coach Chick, you have her in front of you every day. You may not be able to compliment her every second she's in competition or in a workout. Impulsively, what do you see when you look at Sima, whether it be in an event or practice?
Well, when I see Seema run, I know that she's got natural talent. She has a long stride. Her legs are longer than a lot of girls her height, and she's able to stretch out, and sometimes she overstrides. So we'd like her to get a turnover to where she can get her feet under her and she's not off balance overstriding, because she has natural speed, and we're going to try and increase the turnover rate. We want her to be faster without stretching. I remember when I first started teaching her hurdle, she was kind of taking too long a stride in those hurdles, in the long hurdle, 300 hurdle, 400 hurdle. And we get her taking a faster stride that's a little bit shorter, and she's going to get better. So I'm looking at, and then I also talk about her arms. She knows this, is that she has a tendency sometimes for her arms to go to the side. Now, the side is this way, but we teach this way. I don't know if you can see that, but we teach, put the candy bar in your mouth, put it in your back pocket. We teach hip to the lip, all kinds of things to try and get them to move their arms and not be crooked. If they're crooked and they're not coordinated with the legs, they're not going to run as fast. But we try and do technique work with the arms and legs together. And that's one thing we're working with Sima, because her natural speed is there. We're going to get the technique working for her and get her nice and tall and get her foot plant under her so she can push on her toes. I can go on and on. She's getting better little by little, and you haven't seen the end of it. So my plan for Sima this next year is to keep her healthy, number one, work on the technique, get her to go to the meets, ready to go, compete, stay healthy, sleep good, eat good, all those things. And then I think something good is going to happen. You haven't seen the best of Sima Lucero yet.
Wow.
That's coming. That's coming, I'm telling you.
Coach talked to me about your great character, Sima, your academic achievements, just being a good young lady on campus and being a leader and being a team player with unlimited work ethic. These are things he said to me. First of all, under his guidance and leadership, does he build or help you build all of those things I mentioned?
I would say so, yes. Coach Chick does make it a point that we're not only athletes on the field and good people and good competitors on the track, but we have to be that same person off of the track. So I make sure to work hard in school and even outside of school and other extracurriculars, because I know that track is not your whole life. And Coach Chick knows that too. And he doesn't let us run if, we're not eligible or our grades aren't up. And even like there were some girls that were having troubles with their grades or with school, and Coach Chick did everything that he could, got them in contact with teachers, got them in contact with counselors, was constantly checking up on them to make sure that they were up to where they needed to be, because he really does care.
Your mom is from Russia. You obviously have learned a couple of words from mom over the years. When mom gets mad at dad, does she talk in Russian or does she talk English?
I think it, not even just to my dad, but to me and my sister too. If she gets to a certain level of heated, she will start talking in all kinds of languages, but mostly Russian.
Can you teach us a couple of words in Russian right now, like hello, Henry T?
Sure. Well, the only word you need to know for that is привет, which is hello or hi. So you could say привет, Henry. And if you want to say how are you, you go привет, как дела?
Wow. academics obviously are special to you. You understand the key academics has for opening big doors in your future. Maybe a rhetorical question, but why are you an A student at La Cueva High School?
Well, I think it starts definitely in my family. My family holds my sister and I to high expectations academically and athletically, not just because they want us to be good, but because they care. And like even like Coach Chick cares, my parents care, and they want the best for us and they want us to do the best that we possibly can. So I think that they are a big motivation. And then just for myself, I want to do the best that I can do anywhere in anything that I do. So that pushes me. And yeah, I mean, I don't hate school. So I do like learning and I do like getting an A and pushing myself. So that's
The
my motive.
the feeling of having so many friends, not just your track teammates, but coach says you're social, everybody knows you, you know them, you've got a load of friends, friendships. Describe what it means to you again.
Friendships, well, I'm the kind of person that anybody's my friend. I just love, I like talking to people. I like hearing them. I try to treat everybody the same because I think that everybody's cool and everybody's got a different personality. And that's the great thing about people is that everybody's different. So I like to have a lot of fun at track practices. I'm friends with the girls, and in school, I'm friends with my classmates. I'm friends with with people at church. I'm friends. I just like people. So I don't think it really goes much deeper than that. I just like talking to people.
Wow.
Yeah, can I mention something about that, Henry? Sima's a 4.3 student. And in athletics, you have to have a 2.0 to compete. So she's doubled that. And then she has other projects that she does. And just like some of the other La Cueva kids. And sometimes they come to practice and they say, Coach, I'm not going to be able to come more because I got to work on an academic project. And I think some coaches would say, well, you got to get to work and you got to get that on your own time. Well, I embrace it. And if they're going to miss practice to go in and work on a project after school, I'll have them do that and excuse them practice and then tell them, do the workout on your own after you're done with the project. And when you have that attitude and the kids realize that, they know everybody wants them to be a good student and they know that they have an opportunity to do both. So that 4.3 and the projects that she's involved in, they mean a lot to her and they certainly do to us. I'll give you an example, is that Sima is also involved in extracurricular activities. She was in DECA, and a lot of people don't know what DECA is. Distributive ed, and it's kind of like marketing and working with the public. And she went to a national tournament in Florida, wasn't it? Or Atlanta?
It was in Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia. And she's going to miss, an important track meet. And, the coaching staff talked about it and said, she's got to go. It's something that she planned, and we're going to have other people on the team cover for her. And, we have another hurdler on our team, Annalise Barr, who can run those hurdles just like Sima, almost as good. She's been second to Sima in the hurdle. But with Sima gone, she was able to get the gold medal. And so she had a lot of success while Sima was down in Atlanta working DECA for her academics. And so, we excused her and we welcomed her back when she was done with it. But this is what coaches have to do anymore. That kids have a lot of things that they're going to do. They're not going to be able to come to every single practice for different reasons. They're going to do a science project. They're going to go out of town. They're going to meet with a counselor. These are things in coaching that we have to work around. And I've done it with Sima, I've done it with other athletes. And I'm proud to say that at La Cueva, the students at La Cueva get involved in a lot of activities and their grade point averages are pretty good. I haven't had many athletes that had to be disqualified from running because they weren't academically eligible. So yeah, GPAs and academics is important to us.
Well, it's been a long, well-renowned story about you and your character, Coach, about how much you take care of your athletes and you're aware of their academics. You're aware of building their character, plus all that athleticism. When you see the potential of Sima Lucero, is it okay to ask you, if it's not too private, what potential do you see in this young lady?
Well, Sima knows, I've talked to her before about it, talked to her dad about it, is that I think that she's going to be able to compete at a college level, number one, without a doubt. Sima, when I look at her run and I assess her talent, I think she's a 100, 200, 300, 400. She's in that category. And within that category, you got the 100-meter hurdles, the 300-meter hurdles. When you go to the university level and above, you're going to do the 400-meter hurdles. So Sima, she's going to be at a national level in the 2 and the 4. How fast, I'm not sure. But the potential, and what is potential? I ask these kids this all the time. Sima, what is potential?
Potential
What is potential?
is what you could be or what you could accomplish.
Yes. The definition of potential is talent unrealized. What kind of talent do people have? And at what point is that talent come to the top and be realized? Now, some of Sima's talent's been realized, but not all of it. That's coming. I think when she gets to university level and she runs against athletes that are more on the same level as her, because they're not going to be slow kids. She's going to go to university somewhere. And all of a sudden, those kids that are lining up with her are just as fast as her. And they're going to run her. So she's going to have to stretch out and get a little bit better and run a little faster. And her potential is to run faster and longer. And I can see the 400-meter hurdles. And I can see her running quality times in the 50s. We have the saying, as coaches, if you run the 400, whatever you run your 400 in, you open 400. By the way, an open 400 is 400 meters around a track. Whatever you run your open 400 in, let's say it was 55. That indicates that you could run the 400-meter hurdles in 57. She has that kind of potential. Her best 400 ever is a 57 and a little change, right? And that was when not being completely healthy. Completely healthy, she's going to be a 55. You take that 55 and add 2 seconds, you put her in the 57. Well, I don't know if you've been following track and field on a national level, but people at a national level in the 400-meter hurdles, other than McLaughlin, that's a crazy girl. She's running 51s, is that they're running 58s and 57s. So if Sima could get her 400 down to 55 and then incorporate those hurdles, her potential in the hurdles is down mid-50s. And in the mid-50s, you're competing on a national level. So that's where I see her going. And they're going to ask her to run events below that, like a 200 and 400. They may even ask her, you don't know this yet, to run an 800. And if you run an 800, that's going to give you speed endurance to run those 400 hurdles. I've always said that the open 8 and the 400-meter hurdles are very similar. The pain and the endurance that you feel that you're running it. Her potential is going to be really good in the 400-meter hurdles after she runs some outstanding 800s and some outstanding 200s and 400s. And she's going to compete at a national level wherever she goes.
Wow. Sima, I'm just so tempted to ask you the question. If it's too private, tell me so. But I'm going to ask it because we got everybody curious now. How good can you be?
I think that's a pretty loaded question, but I don't know. I don't know how good I can be. I'm going to be as good as I can be. I'm hoping to hit the times that Coach Chick is talking about. I'm hoping to drop my 100 hurdle time into the 13s and my 300 hurdle times into 42s maybe. But there's a lot that goes into that. So that's what I'm aiming for. And my 400 time would be great if I could get in the 55s and drop my 400 hurdle times. So yeah.
Dad grew up in Titletown, New Mexico. Beautiful Las Cruces. He could play anything, football, basketball, baseball. He chose track and field. Best high jumper in New Mexico. Got to go to the University of Missouri to compete. Wow. He had this dream about being an Olympic Games competitor, representing the United States. Do those dreams enter your mind as well?
I say they would. I say I definitely that would be something great if I got the opportunity. But I'm also somebody who I want to be in college. I want to work towards a master's degree. I want to do a lot of things as far as my career goes and that sort of stuff goes. So I think I have a lot of goals. I'm not the type of person that Olympics is my only goal. I only want to go to the Olympics. That's all I want out of life. I think that there's a lot of things that I want, but that's definitely something that we share in common.
Wow.
That's great. Sima, I don't know if I told you this, but Val Boyer, who was the best runner I ever had run for me, she expressed the same concern that you just mentioned. To be a great academic student, graduate, and make a career out of herself. So she was running on a national level, went to the Olympic trials. She qualified for a USA World Cup team. And she, in the back of her mind, thought maybe she can make an Olympic team, but she came up short. And she called me up one day and she said, Coach, I'm done. My academics are great. I'm done running. I'm still young, but I want to be a lawyer. I want to go to law school. And she just stopped cold turkey running because she got out of track what she wanted. It was an important part of her life. She got her academics going. She stopped track, went to law school, became a lawyer, eventually became a judge in Arizona. And it's along the same lines that Sima just mentioned, that track wasn't just her life, but moving forward, track was a vehicle to help get her where she wanted to go. And I hope that Sima can do the same thing with track and field.
Give us a hint, Sima, of a career.
Well, I really want to study political science, but further than that, I think I definitely want to go to law school. I don't know if I want to be a lawyer. I think that's a possibility. I'm also interested in reporting, and anything in those fields. That's all I got for you now.
How does it sound? Sima Lucero, Governor Sima Lucero.
That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool.
What other talents do you have that we should know about? Are you a singer? Are you an actress? Do you dance well?
Something that some people don't know about me is I'm a preacher. And that's not a joke. I for my youth group, I write sermons occasionally. I preach on Tuesday nights sometimes. I got the opportunity to preach at our big church in front of a bunch of people. And I do this thing called fine arts, where it's really hard to describe, but it's kind of like a competitive, there's different events, and I do short sermon. And I qualified for nationals second year in a row. I won district, which is like the state. And so, yeah, that's just a little random thing I do.
If it's not too private again, how often do you pray in competition? Say you're in the blocks. Are you praying at that moment? Because I know your heart where it's at.
I do a lot of praying on meet days. I will say that. I experience just insane nerves during meets. So I'm praying all the time on meet days, especially right before I'm getting into my blocks. Yeah.
Wow. And then in the blocks, I really honor track and field athletes because it's a team sport per se, but you're individually in competition.
Right.
What do you think of block in the blocks, anticipating the gun to go off, and there you go? Nerves, excitement, or is it all composure?
Well, I think I've done it enough times where I kind of know my nerve routine. The day before or a couple days before, I'm super excited for my meet. I'm excited to run. I'm excited to compete. And then the day of the meet, I wake up just anxious, nervous, tied up, just awful nerves. I get to the meet, still carry those out, and they just kind of keep ramping up until I'm at that moment where I'm right in front of my blocks and I'm about to go. And then I'm just filled with, I don't even know how to describe it. The nerves are like nothing else I've felt before. They're not like roller coaster nerves or you're afraid to do something in class. They're just the most different kind of nerves I've ever experienced in my life. But I get in the blocks, and at that moment, my mind just kind of goes blank. I'm like almost shaking. I'm so nervous, and I'm just waiting for that gun. Once the gun goes off, just all of those nerves turn into adrenaline and just kind of carries me through my race.
Wow. And when you really know it, that you got a great start, you left the blocks perfectly, and you got 2 or 3 yards on your opponents immediately because you executed yourself so well out of the blocks. What's it like to have that early advantage?
Well, I'd actually say that my block starts are not one of my strengths. I'm kind of lengthy, so it's hard for me to get a really good block start. But on the occasions that I do, it's really exciting and it's just fun. Like I said, that adrenaline just pushes me even further. I feel good after having a good start.
Coach, how do you teach the performance in the blocks, out of the blocks?
Well, number one is that when you're coming out of the blocks, you got to react to the sound of the gun. Probably the worst thing you can do is get a jump start and then not get to run your race you've been practicing for all week. So we never teach kids to try and beat the gun. We teach them to react to it. Now, when they push on that block, some kids push it and some don't. The concept behind blocks is there's a wall behind you and your foot is on the wall and you push on the wall and then you go in the opposite direction. And that's what a block does. So you got to push, and you got to push on your front foot. And your back foot is a push and a pull. And as soon as you hit the ground, you got to have an opposite arm that drives forward with that opposite foot. And then all of a sudden, your arm swings and can get bigger as you go down the track. So you want to get a good start, a fast start, explosive, push on the blocks, but you don't want to get disqualified by trying to go too soon. And that's one of the things we teach. We would rather see them react to the sound of the gun and then pick up their speed as they go. She's pretty good at attacking the first hurdle, but then her competitive desire as she comes off the first hurdle, the second and third, that's where she really takes charge. And in the middle of the race, she kind of knows where she's at. In the middle of her hurdle race, she knows. She sees out of the side of her eye. She can feel it. It's something that's sometimes hard to teach. Some athletes get it and some don't. But if you get a good start and then you come off the first couple of hurdles and you don't feel anything, and then you just keep accelerating, you're going to have a good race. That's why that earlier video that you showed where she was running those hurdles, she finished the hurdles a good flight of hurdles in front of everybody else.
Maybe we can run that again. Our producer is going to load that up again and run that tape again for us. And when he's ready to do that, we'll just watch. But wow, you're so fast, Sima. And when you hit the tape, the feeling when you hit the tape, share it with us. I'll never hit the tape. Coach is taped out, but you got a lot of tape. What's
whatever.
it like hitting that tape first?
Well, it's it's kind of relieving just knowing that
Look at
I
that.
finished the race. And I made it. I didn't die. I didn't trip. So it's kind of just a lot of relief, and the nerves are over for at least that race. I got that one out of the way. So yeah, that's how I describe it.
When you're on the podium and everything is over and you look around you and you're the top of the podium again with your award, share that moment with us.
Mhm.
Well, it's not really like a prideful moment or anything like that. It's just like I said, I'm glad that the day is over. I'm happy to see my family in the stands.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it.
What's that like to look up in the stands? Mom and dad are right there every time.
Like I said, I'm very fortunate to have such loving and supporting parents. So it never gets old.
Wow. Man, you warmed my heart today, Sima. You really did. I feel so honored, Coach, that you brought her on the show with you. I have two superstars, ladies and gentlemen, right here with all of you New Mexicans, and write her name on the refrigerator that you met Sima Lucero today, soon to meet her young sister, Sasha, in the near future. But don't ever forget this young lady. She's going to take New Mexico on her back somewhere, and we're going to applaud her all the way. And right now is recruiting season. Sima, are the letters coming through the mailbox regularly?
Well, I wouldn't say anything too official, but I definitely have been in contact with a few coaches. I'm trying to take as many unofficial visits as I can, just getting a feel for different regions, different schools, different environments. So that's about where I'm at right now.
Wow. Amazing. Chick, what do we need to say that we haven't said yet?
Well, I think that the fact that Sima is a good teammate and she's a role model, and you might ask her, how can she influence people behind her as a role model? And I know she does something at church with her spirit group, because I already mentioned that a little bit. But when because I've heard other athletes come up to me, and there's her teammates on the screen, and there they are on the podium. We talked about being on the podium and sharing, but she's willing to share with her parents, and she's willing to share with her coaches. And by the way, she has a lot of respect for all coaches. We got Coach Medley, Coach Williams, and myself. It's a coaching staff that works together for the benefit of all our athletes, of which Sima is a part. But as a mentor, reaching out to people behind her, I've seen her mention her sister Sasha, and she did it with a little bit of pride, feeling good about her. And I think that what can you contribute to track and field other than winning a gold medal and getting on that podium, to people behind you, people that are younger than you? There are people that know you, Sima, you don't even know them. There are people that we may have 50 to 70 athletes on our team, and Sima may not know that little one at the end of the line. But that little one at the end of the line comes up to me and said, Coach, what's Sima running this weekend? Is she going to run on that relay? What's she doing this weekend? Oh, I didn't know she was out of town. They ask me stuff like that. Is that they want to know, because they look up to you because you're a really good athlete. How do you embrace in your brain and your desire to reach out and be a mentor to other athletes and people that are excited about track and field and what you're doing? How's that for a question?
That's a really good question. I think being a leader doesn't have to be what most people think when they think of a leader, as someone who's taking charge or bossing people around or almost acting like a boss. I think that being a leader can be something that I learned is being like a servant leader. So you're serving the people around you, you're encouraging the people around you, you're being a good teammate. And I think that that's what being a leader is, or a mentor. I think just setting a good example, working hard in practice, trying to be a good person on the track and off the track. I think that's all that anyone could do.
Wow. I can picture Thanksgiving at the Lucero house with mom and dad, Sasha, and you. And before you dig into the delicious meal, you're having that special prayer. Do you lead the prayer?
I leave that one to my dad. He's pretty good at praying and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I leave that to my dad or my uncle. My uncle likes to say really long prayers. That's how Thanksgiving goes.
Yeah. Well, I'm honored to have you on the show today. You've motivated Henry T. You've made me smile, inside especially. And I doubt if I'll ever miss another event of yours, Sima, because
Aw,
well, you've earned all the respect, not of just Henry T, but you just made a lot of fans around the state of New Mexico and around the country, because this show goes everywhere. So all I can say is one-on-one, thank you to you for lifting me up today.
thank you. Thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity.
Wow. Hey, Coach, I could see her as a national broadcaster, articulate, beautiful, smart,
Yeah.
witty, work ethic. Man,
She's
what do
got
you
the full
think?
package, coach.
Huh?
She's got the full package.
The
Just need to
total
stay healthy and
package.
keep moving forward. But I hope I'm around. You know, you and I are in a different generation. I mean, we're far removed. And 20 years from now, Seaman, we're not going to be here. I mean, that's just a fact of life.
Hey, he can speak for himself, Sima.
You're living forever.
Hey,
You're one of those 105-year-olds, huh?
I was a little kid when I first met Coach Chick. I lived in a home across the ditch bank and across the street from Valley High School when I grew up. One of the first athletes that I got to know, not so much personally, but vision-wise, is Coach Chick, because he
That's
was a
awesome.
star basketball point guard for the Valley Vikings. And that was my neighborhood. And I'd go sneak in the gym and watch Coach Chick play. He was amazing. All state, all world leader of the team, never missed a free throw. He could really play. And I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but later on, after a great coaching career that he's still involved in, voted and inducted into the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Big honor. And that's your coach. What do you think of all that?
It's like getting to see a celebrity every day. It's pretty cool. He's accomplished a lot, and we're very fortunate that he shares his wisdom with us. So, pretty cool.
What do you think of that, Coach, as we end our show today?
Well, as we end the show today, I'm going to say this. I'm 80 years old, I confess. I've been around a long time, 54 years at APS. And I still believe the best athlete I ever had is the next one. There's more coming. The best year we ever had is going to be the next year. And the new athletes that join Sima. And all of a sudden, we pass the love of track and field and athletics on to people that are younger than us. And I want to keep going. So even though I joke and I'm not going to be here 20 years from now, I plan on taking it as far as I can take it and try and get these athletes to excel.
Amen. Sima, a sincere thank you to you and to your great family, and say hello to all of them for Henry T. And I hope you enjoy this production that we did today. And I can hardly wait to see the potential take shape in your beautiful life ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for having me once again. I really appreciate it. And you guys definitely boosted my confidence. So thank you for everything.
Amen. How about you and Sasha? Before I go, how do you guys get along? How aware are you of teaching your young sister to be better every day?
Well, we're pretty close in age. We're like 2.5 years apart. So we've definitely been each other's best friends for as long as I can remember. So I think that it's not even like I'm her older sister. Sometimes it feels like she's my older sister. I think we learn a lot from each other.
Well, God bless you, Sima. Coach, same to you. Thank you. And our producer, Jimmy Tran, who punches the buttons for this show, he was a track athlete, Division I athlete at in California at I forgot the name of the school.
Irvine.
Cal Irvine,
Hmm.
Cal Irvine. But
beautiful campus.
he truly appreciated what you do and what you're about. So I want to say thank you to Jimmy Tran for his part in making this show so exciting today. Have a great
Yeah.
day, Sima. Say hi
Thank
to
you.
everybody.
I will. Thank you for having me.
Take care. See you later, Coach Chick.
Okay.
Take care. Take care, all of you. We'll see you next time. And boy, we have so many shows to put on. Hard to top this one, but we'll give it a try. Have a great day. Thank you, everybody. This is Henry T on Game Face Live.
Mhm.
Great job, Chick.
Yeah, you're off the air now.
Sima, thank you.
Not yet.
Looks like she signed out, huh? Can you hear me, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sima signed out. I know she's got some kind of appointment today.